So if you've recently gone through a breakup with an avoidant person, whether you broke up with them or they broke up with you, and there's a part of you that's like, oh, I hope they come back. I hope that they miss the relationship and want to get back together. And I'm sure there's a huge part of you that wants to know, am I wasting my time? When maybe they just truly are in their conviction that we're just not right together, and that's not going to change. So that's why I wanted to offer 4 signs that maybe the avoidant was conflicted or confused at the point of the breakup, which maybe lends itself to them potentially wanting to rekindle things or potentially get back together. So this video wasn't to make any promises. Seriously, guys, if someone tells you they never want to see you again, please leave me alone. How many times do I have to tell you I don't want to be with you? Please respect that. Don't project onto the other person that they must feel exactly the same way you do just because that's how you feel. None of us are entitled to get our exes back. I'm just making this video for people who were in a serious relationship with an avoidant who maybe seemed conflicted at the point of the breakup. And if you're brand new here, hi, by the way, my name is Wando. But anyone coming to this channel is naturally wanting just an avoidant person's perspective, which I'm here to do. I'm here to be your avoidant friend online. So not making any promises, but I do think that these things could be a sign that they were conflicted and confused. So the first sign that maybe they were confused or conflicted is if during the breakup, they put you on a pedestal in some way and said something like, you deserve better than me, or I don't deserve to be with you. Something along those lines where they were communicating in a way where they didn't seem quite sure of themselves or sure that they were making the right decision or that they should be feeling this way. Keep in mind though, people of all attachment styles might say this because they feel bad breaking up with someone. Breaking up with someone sucks. So watch the rest of the video to see if this is happening concurrently with some of the other things I bring up in the video. And sometimes with avoidant people, if we're feeling confused or conflicted, we can have black or white thinking that it's either this or it's that. It's either we're together or we're not together. And that's why no contact is really powerful, because when an avoidant person is feeling conflicted and confusion is at the forefront of our mind, sometimes we just need time to be alone and kind of let the dust settle to have some clarity so that a variable that's confusing us is just removed and see things a little bit more nuanced. So another sign that they were maybe confused, conflicted, is if they were spending consistent quality time with you at the point that the breakup happened. And I went through this with a previous ex of mine where I went on to want to get back with him. But at the point that we broke up, we had broken up and gotten back together a few times. And then the time before, like the big breakup, we were actually kind of hanging out more and more and more. And I kind of felt like that made me more confused because I was pretty sure they didn't want to be with him and that we weren't compatible. And I felt almost like dead set on that. So there was a part of me that was like, no, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. But like slowly we were kind of getting better at communicating with one another. But it was just all of our issues that we had that led up to our breakup was just so like fresh in my mind. And I like couldn't see past it, that I was still like dead set on like, no, we don't work together. We shouldn't be together. Even though we were spending consistent quality time together, I just couldn't get past some of the things from the past. Another sign is if maybe things seemed pretty consistent in the relationship, but the season of the avoidance life is creating some confusion for them. So that could be moving to a new city, starting a new job, being in some big milestone phase of their life, and maybe they're defaulting to feeling like they have to compartmentalize this big moment in their life from being able to show up in a relationship. And actually, Matthew Hussey, the dating coach, he talks about this as a thing that happens with men called the blueprint where men are conditioned in life and socialized to have a lot of their worth associated with being providers and how much income they're making and how they can perform financially and career-wise. And he talks about how men can sometimes compartmentalize their need to focus on their career from a relationship, or their need to focus on some other, big objective in their life from a relationship. And I just have a theory that there might be a similar thing that happens with avoidant people. And the last thing is maybe the avoidant felt overwhelmed by some sort of milestone in the relationship that was potentially freaking them out or creating some confusion, conflict in their head about continuing the relationship. So that could be having the commitment conversation. That could be moving in together. There's numerous type of milestones that could be happening in any given relationship, but sometimes that might feel like a very, very big step for some avoidant people, or maybe even if they make that step, they feel overwhelmed by the responsibility and accountability required at that particular milestone. I can specifically relate to the moving in one because I moved in with an ex before. The deeper an avoidant person gets into a relationship, the more that they are going to be held accountable for showing up consistently in a relationship, the more they have an expectation of certain responsibilities in that relationship. And that can be overwhelming and stressful and intimidating for an avoidant person. And maybe if that was a big issue at the point that you broke up, one of these kind of big milestones, it could be that they were conflicted about that. And it could also be that with some distance from the relationship, they can come back around to wanting to get back into the relationship and be less freaked out by one of those big milestones. So again, it's not to say that if you've gone through these things in a breakup with an avoidant ex that they're definitely going to come back. But these could just be some signs where, especially if maybe more than one of these things were happening at the same time, you could see in their face, you could see in their communication that they seemed confused, that they seemed conflicted. Maybe they just truly were.